Hi everyone, my name is David. I'll be doing a little oil painting demo today. 5x7 canvas panel is what I'm using. And I'm using Rembrandt's colors. That's burnt umber, burnt sienna, titanium white. The safflower version, not the linseed oil version. Cad yellow light, cad red deep, permanent matter deep, and ultramarine deep. Now I'm filling in the background here with this round brush. I usually use this one to mix colors, but I just went with it. I would normally grab a flat or a bright to put in my backgrounds just to cover space quicker, but since this is so small, I just went with it. That would be a Royal and Langnickel round. I believe it's a number 2 from their Essential collection. I really don't have much to say about filling in backgrounds, other than just, stay inside the lines, or outside them, as the case may be. Normally, I spend a bit of time working on my edges, but since this is just a quick demo, and I'm using this this painting in a show, and there's actually going to be a lot more of these, I didn't worry too much about the edges. I kept them all pretty crisp. Now here I'm just drawing in some more detail with the black. I have changed brushes. This is an Escoda number 2 round. I believe it's Prado. You'll see me switch to the smaller brushes in a minute. The Versatile, I guess that's how you say that, or Versatile. Also smaller Prado, I use number 2s and a number 0. You'll see that one later on. Just starting to fill in color. Primarily ultramarine blue and burnt umber with a touch of red to give me a little bit of a purplish brown. And more drawing. My initial sketch didn't include too much detail in the tree, but it doesn't really matter. It's just sort of arbitrary texture. Now we're getting into some color. It's still the same color mixture, just with a little bit of burnt sienna mixed in. I've switched to the smaller brushes. This one is Grumbacher. I believe it's a number 2. Yeah, it's a number 2. This is their golden edge line. The fibers are a little stiffer than the Escodas, and I like that sometimes. There's the Escoda there. That's a Prado number 2. I just love them. They're synthetic. They're not real Kolinsky, but they behave almost as well. You'll see me switch brushes a lot. I have different brushes for different colors, but I also have different brushes for different purposes. Like the red one here, the Grumbacher, the fibers are stiffer. Like I said, it's easier to get in there and draw with them. Laying down color. I tend to use the softer brushes to put color on top of color, but I don't always follow that. It's not a rule. Now here I'm paying a little bit more attention to the direction of the feathers, whereas tree bark is just sort of arbitrary up and down texture. With the bird, I tried to pay a little bit more attention to the direction of his feathers and communicate that with brush strokes. But it's just a matter of meticulous placement. I mix up the colors and I put them down, and I'll blend them on the canvas. I like to use the Escodas for blending. I believe that's how you say that, Escoda. Yeah, just gradually filling it in little by little, and I'm never in a rush to get these done. This is a 5x7, and I'm just very slowly filling it in. I think the whole painting took me about 5 or 6 hours. And I've edited it down to about 8 minutes, 9 minutes, I think. 9.5. Otherwise, you'd be sitting here watching me do this for the better part of 5 or 6 hours. Maybe one day I'll release some of those, but for now, I just wanted to get used to the camera, and, I've never used it before, so I think halfway through it, I actually figured out how to lock the color temperature down so the color doesn't change. It was doing that in the beginning. Now I've moved into a darker blue. I tend to start with my shadow colors and work down into my darks, my blacks, and then I work up into my halftones and highlights. Again, it's not a rule I follow, but it's generally what I do. The tips of these Grumbacher's are really nice. As long as the paint flows, you can get some nice crisp lines, and I use a medium that I make myself to do this. It's kept the paint wet. You're actually watching 3 days progress. I worked for a couple hours each day. There's my number 0. I love this little brush. It's great. Great for detail. Again, that's an Escoda Prado, size 0. I'm working on the beak. I use this a lot. It's a lot of fun. I get lost in details, and I actually have to stop myself from putting too much in, because yes, it is possible to overwork. I mean, just a few strokes here, a few strokes there, you notice. You see something you like, it's generally a good idea to stop and not keep going, because that tends to overwork things. Put some highlights on the bird's head. I don't think I switched back to the larger brushes after I started using this. So I guess you can see the progression. I started off with a larger brush. Not a flat like I normally do, but a larger round. That round I was using in the beginning, like I said, I use that to mix my colors, and then I touch into them with these, but sometimes I mix with the little ones. It just depends. The big ones tend to suck up a lot of paint, and these are a little bit easier as far as that goes. You don't need to mix a lot for these little details. That's pretty much it. I mean, I just keep working the details, and when I feel like it's done, I stop. I don't overdo. And as with any piece, you can see things later on that you might want to do, or maybe you want it to do a little bit differently, or you think, oh, I should have put some more detail in there, but don't touch it, Once it's done, it's done. And this is only 5x7. I want the main impact to be when somebody sees this from 3 to 6 feet away. I don't really think anyone's going to see this painting as closely as you are right off the bat. They'll see it from far away, and then they'll walk up to it and see it the way you're seeing it now, which is the idea. If you get someone to come up and look at your work like that, I'd say you've done a pretty good job. And that's about all I have. So thanks for watching.